Tonight, pandemonium at Victoria Park.
It was nonstop sirens. It just went on forever. Emergency task force came in. I've never seen something like this in my life.
Sunfest wraps up with a massive police response and charges laid. Plus, bottom line impact.
Everybody is overworked, less staff.
The job cuts at Thames Valley District School Board facing a deficit in the millions. And peak summer. The potential for record-breaking temperatures this week, with warnings issued to avoid too much time outdoors.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a chaotic scene at Sunfest last night. The four-day festival was winding down when an altercation broke out involving London police. There was a massive armed response leading to charges against two teenagers. With more, here's Brent Lale.
It was panic in the park.
Some confusion, some banging, what sounded like, I'm not sure what it sounded like, firecrackers or something, even maybe gunshots at the first.
As Sunfest wrapped up Sunday night, a confrontation took place on the edge of Victoria Park between teenagers and police.
We had officers present at the festival, and they observed some people setting off fireworks towards the crowd. So our officers intervened to try and take care of that, but while making that arrest, they got surrounded by the crowd who turned against them.
As the incident escalated,
officers started getting hit with bottles, rocks, fireworks thrown at them. So we asked for more resources. We had more officers attend. We asked for our emergency response unit to attend, our public order unit, who came and took care of the situation.
We spoke with Sunfest organizers at Victoria Park this morning who declined our request for an interview. They issued a brief statement in which they said they were aware of the incident and the safety of everyone attending Sunfest is their highest priority. They added they are reviewing the incident with community partners and police. Police say their massive response was not a reaction to the recent fatal shooting at a Toronto festival.
We had officers in the park on directed patrols. They actually observed this behavior, so we knew it was fireworks at the time, but we brought in the appropriate resources.
Christopher Bogle grabbed his camera.
It was nonstop sirens. It just went on forever. Emergency task force came in. They surrounded the whole perimeter of the park. And you know what? I've never seen something like this in my life. And I believe that the London Police Service, they did an amazing job by containing the situation.
Police say a 17-year-old and 16-year-old have been arrested and face multiple charges.
Unlawful assembly, assaulting a police officer with a weapon, possession of explosive devices, which are fireworks in this case.
The young offenders remain in custody as police ask for members of the public with video or knowledge of the incident to contact them. Brent Lale, CTV News.
More questions than answers at City Hall as councillors discussed creating a team of special constables who would be dispatched by City Hall rather than London Police.
It just seems like, again, another team. Do we need that many teams? Do the police just get more special constables? So many questions.
So now we're saying, oh, well, as a city, we're going to have our own team so we get faster access to service than the general public.
We did have a historic police budget, so I am interested to see if we can use some of that money to pay for that.
Special constables would not carry guns, but they would have defensive equipment like batons and pepper spray. A consultant's report recommended they fill an enforcement gap between bylaw officers and London Police. The committee voted in favor of getting a report early next year about launching a $2 million per year pilot project with 11 City Hall special constables patrolling city properties.
More legislative authority, more ability to act, more ability to protect public buildings, more ability to protect staff who work for us, municipal council, who we have a responsibility to protect. And all we have to do is go to the next step of getting more information and then decide then.
Emergency responders were called out for a water rescue late this afternoon. According to police, a resident called 911 after spotting a woman floating motionless in the water near downtown London. London Fire Water Rescue Team members were able to bring her to shore. She was reportedly unresponsive at first, but vital signs were present. Eventually, responders said they were able to get her talking, and she was taken to hospital. Environment Canada officials have extended a yellow heat warning for our region. Daytime highs are expected to top 30 degrees until Thursday. Factoring in the humidex, it will likely feel like 43 tomorrow in London. Health experts recommend limiting time outdoors and staying hydrated.
Good evening. We're under a heat warning, as Carlyle mentioned, and that stretches right across southern Ontario, all the way into northern Ontario as well, breaking records across the southern prairies as this large dome of heat encompasses the Great Lakes. In terms of our temperature out there right now, we're sitting at our high for the day, 31 degrees. Midwestern Ontario, anywhere from 27 to 30. Tomorrow is going to be even hotter than it was today. So our humidex right now, a reading feeling like the mid to upper 30s across the area. Skies are clear, lots of sunshine, a beautiful summer evening underway if you're in a shady spot. We had a breeze earlier, but that wind has eased off. Temperatures as we head through the late evening holding in the upper 20s. At midnight, still 23 degrees with the southerly flow. Coming up, I'll tell you how hot it's going to get tomorrow, the potential for some records tomorrow afternoon, and as we head toward the weekend, not quite as hot, but still feeling quite summer-like. I'll have all your local weather details coming up in just a few minutes. Carlyle?
Thank you, Julie. A multi-vehicle crash closed a section of Highbury yesterday morning. London police say 3 vehicles were involved just north of Manning Drive around 8 a.m. Sunday. 2 of the vehicles had left the road on the west side of Highbury. According to police, 2 people from one of the vehicles were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Local education workers say recent cuts at the Thames Valley School Board will put more pressure on staff who they say are already stretched. The board faces a projected multi-million-dollar deficit, making hundreds of staffing changes ahead of the new school year. With more, here's Rita Ismail.
The Thames Valley District School Board's preliminary budget projects a $22.1 million deficit and includes the elimination of more than 150 full-time positions. Among the reductions are nearly 30 early childhood educator positions, which the board says are tied to declining enrollment.
Everybody is overworked, less staff. A lot of it has to do with the funding cuts that is not being provided by the Ford government, which is, if you ask me, a neglect.
But while some positions are being reduced, the board says it is also adding staff in areas where demand is increasing. The board is adding 18 educational assistant positions, 12 of them in special education. In a statement to CTV News, TVDSB says this year's changes reflect an expected decline of nearly 2,800 students, while also including investments in special education supports, Indigenous education, targeted learning initiatives, and staffing for new schools. Henry says the board should be looking more closely at administrative costs rather than frontline positions.
If you are trying to do your cuts because you're trying to save your deficit and to rebuild and stuff like that, you need to look at other avenues instead of the direct areas where the students need it the most. When you calculate the math at $40,000, $50,000 and you hire one superintendent, that could be 4 or more support persons put in the school to assist the students' needs.
The Education Minister Paul Calandra's office declined our interview request. In a statement, the minister's press secretary says staffing notices are part of the normal process ahead of the school year, and final staffing levels will not be determined until September, once enrollment numbers are confirmed. The preliminary budget is expected to go before the board for final approval later this summer. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
The Prime Minister is defending a deal for the Gordie Howe Bridge in Windsor, which will see Canada split net profits with the U.S.
First, I'm happy the bridge is going to be open. Yeah, we need it. We need it because we're expanding. We're still expanding trade. Second thing is the word net does a lot of work in this. We are sharing after Canada is paid back. So we get the revenues, then the servicing of the costs of the bridge, and paying the debt of the bridge, and then what's left over, there's a split.
The federal government had fronted more than $6 billion in construction costs. Under the original deal, Canada was supposed to get 100% of toll profits. Instead, we'll get 50% of net profits for 15 years, while the other half will go to the U.S. for a regional economic fund. There have been several delays in getting the bridge open. It's currently set to open July 27th. Meanwhile, Windsor's mayor says he's more concerned about the agreement's impact for his city. With more on the debate surrounding this new deal, here's Bob Belichico.
We've watched together the pillars rise up out of the ground. We've watched the two halves meet in the middle, and then it stopped.
From the initial conversation about a new crossing to now, the Gordie Howe International Bridge has been a quarter of a century in the making and is now finally set to open later this month.
I think we're all happy about that, and it'll be great for trade for our region, which is really, really important.
Mayor Drew Dilkens expects many will be interested in trying the new bridge for the experience.
We're anticipating there'll be a downtick in business at the Windsor-Detroit Tunnel, which obviously impacts our bottom line here at the city.
Not only is it the easiest way to get across, but you actually help save your municipal taxes because we pay a dividend to the city on an annual basis.
When the dust settles, tunnel officials hope their international gateway remains the more popular crossing choice for passenger vehicles.
I think people are going to go check out the pretty puppy, then they're going to come down here, and we're still the cheapest way, easy access to all four major sports, the hospitals, and really what brings people across the border.
The deal that helped solidify the opening date of the bridge included the establishment of a 15-year economic development fund tied to a portion of profits from bridge operations.
They're going to get some money over the next 15 years for their economic development fund. But what wasn't said, I think, will be equally important, and that is what happens with the ownership of the Ambassador Bridge.
Dilkens anticipates 50 to 60% of traffic will move from the Ambassador Bridge to the Gordie.
I think over time it will become more clear on what this is all about, and I suspect in some way, shape, or form it involves the Ambassador Bridge and the ownership of the Ambassador Bridge.
In the meantime, Steve Cosma, business development manager at Morris Transportation, looks forward to the relief lower tolls will bring to the company and its customers.
It's absolutely great for us. It's going to hit right to the bottom line and be able to help us out with customers and be more cost comparable with everybody else.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
St. Thomas police say they've laid additional sexual assault charges against a local chiropractor. Police say Stephen Perry now faces 9 more counts of sexual assault, along with 2 counts of sexual exploitation. Police say 10 complainants have come forward since their investigation began last month. According to police, Perry was arrested this morning, and he's since been released with a future court date. Chatham-Kent police say they're looking for a suspect who got away from a home invasion. According to police, 2 suspects forced their way into a home Saturday night, demanding property before trying to run away. Police say a witness intervened, though, stopping one of the suspects, who they say had pulled out a handgun. Police say they've charged a 25-year-old man from London with several offenses, while they seized cocaine and meth in the process of the investigation. The other suspect remains at large. A large gathering of motorcycle gang members is happening this coming weekend in the Windsor area. Chris Campbell has more on the police preparation and the assurances for public safety.
Hundreds of outlaw motorcycle gang members are expected to roll into Windsor, Essex this week, bringing with them a noticeable police presence and, at times, heavier traffic.
The people need to know of the community. They're going to see an increase in outlaw motorcycles, people wearing patches on their backs, their colors, a lot of big groups, large groups of motorcycles traveling together, and there'll be an increased police presence.
Windsor Police, the Ontario Provincial Police, and the Canada Border Services Agency have been planning for the 4-day gathering, which is expected to attract more than 750 members and associates from across Ontario and Canada. Police stress there's no intelligence suggesting a threat to the public, but motorists should expect occasional delays.
So it's a large presence of a lot of motorcyclists in the area. So for motorists to just generally be aware that this is kind of coming through our area, and maybe not to cause so much alarm, but just for awareness first and foremost.
Local hotels were also given a heads up. The Windsor Region Ontario Restaurant, Hotel and Motel Association says police contacted members to let them know a large influx of visitors was expected this weekend.
I don't believe it's a matter of concern. just a heads up on, obviously having a huge influx of people coming into the area.
CTV News public safety analyst and former OPP Commissioner Chris Lewis says events like this require months of planning and often involve officers from police services across Ontario.
So there will be officers there from major cities all over Ontario that know their local Hells Angels and will be there to be able to identify them and talk to them and kind of make sure everything's under control. So that'll help a lot in terms of the planning, the intelligence gathering, who might be there, who not, who's wanted, who's not.
Police say residents shouldn't be alarmed by large motorcycle convoys, but should expect heavier traffic in some areas through the weekend.
Again, just go about your business. If you see a convoy of motorcycles, nothing to worry about. There's zero concern for public safety at all.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Delays are expected in London's North End as construction begins on the J.W. Carson Bridge. The closure affects Clark Road between Veterans Memorial Parkway and Fanshawe Park Road East. According to city officials, the project is meant to extend the bridge's lifespan while accommodating expected growth in the area. Northbound traffic will be detoured along Clark Road, Huron Street, Highbury Avenue, and Fanshawe Park Road East. Southbound drivers will be directed to use Fanshawe Park, Highbury, Huron, and Clark. When we come back, gunfire at a Toronto street festival. 2 men killed, several others wounded, reigniting the national debate over firearms. Plus, a new warning about the dangers posed by ticks and an emerging string of illnesses. Welcome back. 2 people were killed in Toronto this weekend when gunfire rang out during a summer street festival. It's raising concerns about crowd control and renewing the national debate over illegal firearms. With more, here's Judy Trinh.
Gunfire at a Toronto salsa festival, sending crowds running for cover. 2 people shot dead, 5 others injured. The mayor of Canada's biggest city is vowing the summer tradition will continue.
We will not let reckless criminals stop Toronto's tradition of outdoor street festivals.
There were an estimated 13,000 people at the festival, including families with children. For people to continue attending these events, analysts say the public could demand a bigger police presence.
We can expect that there will be more tolerance for the police to use more of the techniques that private security uses in private venues, like things like using metal detectors or increased use of CCTV cameras and whatnot.
The Conservatives are blaming the brazen gun violence on the Liberal government and years of lax sentencing.
If you're a violent repeat offender, especially a gun offender, you should be removed from society for a very long time. And that will create the deterrence necessary to prevent gun violence.
Under pressure, the Liberals have made more than 80 changes to the criminal code to tighten bail and sentencing for repeat offenders.
Gang violence, tougher sentencing in around that. We really have tightened up the criminal code. We're just got that through Parliament and has been signed off.
Toronto's police chief wants a new law to protect from guns being fired in public spaces.
When someone is shot and killed in a congregate setting, whether it's a stray bullet or because someone started a fight and pulled a gun, such offenses should be classified as first-degree murder.
Toronto's mayor is also calling for more cooperation between Canadian and American law enforcement to ensure that guns are not being smuggled into Canada. Statistics show that nearly half of all guns seized by police in Canada are from the U.S. Judy Trinh, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canadian health officials are issuing a warning about tick-borne illnesses. Lyme disease is the most common, but they're becoming increasingly concerned about another threat which can be even more dangerous if left untreated. Adrian Gobriel reports.
In tall grass and along nature trails, a growing danger is lurking. Black-legged ticks have been expanding their geographical footprint in Canada, driven in part by milder winters. And now this Canadian Medical Journal report is flagging that a number of ticks aren't just carrying Lyme disease, some are spreading anaplasmosis. While rare, the tick-borne disease can be fatal.
There have been, unfortunately, 3 or 4 deaths related to anaplasmosis in the province of Ontario in the last 1 to 2 years.
They thought that he was not going to,
make it.
During a long nature walk with his dogs in Halifax, Nova Scotia in July of 2022, Perry Horn believes he was bitten by a tick.
He had a high fever, so much so that the bed was shaking.
He was sent home after his first 2 trips to Dartmouth General Hospital. Doctors initially thought he had COVID, but with his health rapidly declining, he was rushed back to the ER for a 3rd visit.
I woke up, my fingers were purple. My heart and kidneys were failing.
By noon the next day, the doctor was rushing him to the ICU because he wasn't getting any better and they had no idea what was going on.
It's there in the ICU that Horn was diagnosed with anaplasmosis. The most recent national data shows there were roughly 5,800 reported cases of tick-borne illness in Canada in 2024. More than 2,300 of those cases were found in each of Ontario and Nova Scotia. More than 830 were reported in Quebec, though case counts that include anaplasmosis are now believed to be even higher.
Doctor that looked after me said I was possibly the first case in Nova Scotia.
Anaplasmosis is now the 2nd most common tick-borne illness in Canada. The Horns are sharing their story to spread awareness across the country.
Nearly took me.
I had no idea if my husband was coming out of ICU.
Federal funding for TickNet Canada that brought together doctors and researchers who are battling the rise in tick-borne diseases came to an end in March, along with vital work that was being done. The government agency responsible for the cutbacks was unable to answer our questions before our deadline. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Hamilton, Ontario.
A study out of Alberta is shedding light on how much influence a smartphone can have on mental health. It was initiated by a teenager who wanted to try life with a flip phone instead. Kathy Lee has more on the results.
Scroll, tap, repeat. For many people, doom scrolling on their smartphone has become second nature. That's how it was for Jarrett Gross.
I always felt like I wasted a lot of time, and it was also hard to stop.
Last November, the 17-year-old decided to make some changes, so he ditched his smartphone for a flip phone where he could not access social media apps and started noticing improvements in his overall well-being.
It was pretty good. I like it way better. I think life is better on a flip phone.
He wanted to know if those changes could be measured, so he asked some of his closest friends to take part in a case study. They switched to flip phones for a couple months while a psychologist conducted before and after brain scans. Dr. Blake Osmos led the experiment, which included a questionnaire.
In the measures for depression and stress levels, as well as anxiety, they dropped immediately.
And for the brain scans,
what we saw is a decrease of those alpha brain waves in the frontal lobe, which can be correlated with brain fog.
Most of Gross's friends eventually returned to their smartphones, but he is still committed to his flip phone. The teen joins a growing trend of people seeking them out.
This is Nokia phone.
Jerry Ede runs an e-commerce business selling refurbished cell phones and says more and more people want the old school version.
5 years prior, it used to be just seniors that are buying flip phones. But right now we are seeing even the younger generation.
Ede adds that parents are also looking for flip phones for their kids.
And asks, why are you buying a flip phone for your kid? Because I don't want them to use social media.
Gross says he is more present now that he doesn't have easy access to social media on his cell phone, and he hopes his experience encourages others.
I can message people, call people.
To rethink their own screen time. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
In addition to obviously the mental health benefits of ditching the constant barrage of social media that we can be exposed to, there's something just satisfying about a flip phone.
Yeah.
Hanging up and just snapping it shut, dropping in your pocket. Miss those days.
I think we should try that out. I definitely believe that the social media component to it, what they were talking about, I mean, that is
huge.
Yes, absolutely.
We're talking weather here, Julie.
Yes.
Potentially dangerous weather with some of this heat right now.
Absolutely. Tomorrow will be the peak of the heat. So as we head into tomorrow afternoon, temperatures are expected to climb, Carlyle, into the mid-30s. And it will feel like the low to mid-40s. So we do have a heat warning in effect, and areas that we've already seen some of this record-breaking heat has been in through southern Manitoba, southern Saskatchewan, likely today in northwestern Ontario, even out east. So the dome of heat heat and the intensity is just west of us, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. But we did make it to 31 this afternoon. The record high 33 degrees, set back in the 70s. It's still 30 degrees on the hour at the London airport, and the winds are light out of the west. The pressure at 102.0. So a big ridge of high pressure in place at the surface and in the upper atmosphere, and this upper ridge, this dome of heat continues to bake over the Great Lakes. So tomorrow, the key point that I wanted to make is that the intensity of the heat will be with us tomorrow, and then things will start to slowly improve, but you will notice it. So look at this national map temperature. So just off to the west, you can see Winnipeg's at 34. Thunder Bay is at 37. The hottest spot in Canada goes to Armstrong on the hour, where the temperature is close to 40, and that is near Thunder Bay. Toronto's coming in at 32 degrees. So yes, it's hot and humid. This is the dome of heat. And again, this will be shifting eastward tomorrow, placing us right in the bullseye of the heat and humidity. And then it will start to flatten. And what that means is the temperatures will not be quite as hot and humid later in the week. So late Thursday, you'll notice that things starting to change, and heading into the weekend, daytime highs anywhere between 28 and 30. We're going to get out of that 32 to 35 range. Overnight, not a lot of relief, so we're still holding on to the heat and humidity. Temperatures will dip down between 20 and about 23 degrees along the lakeshore of Huron and Erie. Next 36 hours, not a whole lot to show you in terms of weather. We do have a few fair weather clouds to the north, and we could kick off a shower as we head into early Wednesday morning towards the Bruce Peninsula. That's it. We need rainfall. So we are looking for the opportunity for some showers as we head into Friday evening, early Saturday morning. I don't know about your grass, but my neighborhood is completely brown in terms of our grass and gardens. I know many of you are looking for rainfall. I'm sure the farmers are hoping for some rain by this point as well. So we are looking at a deficit in terms of our rainfall amounts in the region, and not a lot in this forecast. So your weather for tomorrow: sunshine, extremely hot and humid. Of course, anyone who works outdoors, please again take care. Find yourself a shady spot. Make sure you're hydrating as you send the little ones off to camp tomorrow as well. I'm sure they'll be taking lots of breaks. Sunny conditions expected right through the afternoon. Again, 35 degrees. If we hit that 35, get a bit warmer, we will likely break a record. So keeping an eye on that. We'll take a run at that tomorrow afternoon, and feeling like 43. Mix of sun and cloud for your Wednesday, 31. So you can see the intensity of the heat winds down just a bit. By Thursday, back into a mix of sun and cloud and 29. 29 degrees on Friday. Sunshine Friday night. Hopefully some rainfall into early Saturday morning, 29 degrees, and then 27 on Sunday. 26 on Monday. Midwestern Ontario, it is going to be a hot, steamy day for you tomorrow. Heat warning in effect, and then the temperature starts to dip a bit Wednesday into Thursday. So tomorrow, the hottest over the next 7. Next opportunity for measurable rain will come Friday into Saturday. Now, there is the probability of showers anytime you get this hot and humid later in the week, about a 30% chance, although we're not expecting anything widespread. Again, Carlyle, the next opportunity for some measurable rain coming in Friday night. The probability will briefly go up to about a 40% chance. Other than that, this forecast is looking dry. I am expecting we'll see some more rain in the coming weeks. Likely by next week, we'll start to introduce the opportunity for more rain showers, but we're looking at a hot and humid forecast tomorrow, and we still have some hot weather as we head into the weekend.
All right, Julie, thanks very much. Still ahead, bowing to American pressure, the Canadian manufacturers considering stateside relocation because of tariffs.
Okay, I have to issue an apology to a beautiful couple here in London.
Why?
I think I crushed their wedding.
What? Okay, tomorrow morning, 6:35, we're going to talk about that.
WestJet flight attendants are nearly through a strike vote. Roughly 4,400 flight attendants could walk off the job or be locked out as early as August 2nd. Talks between their union leaders and the airline have been ongoing for more than 10 months, with the main sticking point compensation. Union officials have stated flight attendants work an average of 35 unpaid hours every month. Meanwhile, Air Canada has reached a tentative agreement with the union representing 11,000 workers in technical operations, airports and cargo, and logistics. The agreement is subject to ratification by the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers. Union leaders representing Canadian auto workers say they've reached a tentative deal with Ford. That agreement would cover roughly 5,000 workers at 5 plants in southern Ontario, as well as one in Alberta. Details of the 3-year deal will not be released until they are ratified by union members. Unifor officials say talks with Stellantis and GM will begin once the Ford agreement is ratified. There are growing concerns about the number of companies shifting operations south of the border under pressure from U.S. tariffs. As Abigail Beeman reports, for many, it's their best shot at surviving.
This is Fiber, a farm equipment manufacturing company in Crystal City, Manitoba, co-founded by Derek Friesen's dad.
We love our people and our communities.
But Friesen says the current climate of U.S. trade uncertainty, combined with Canadian red tape and regulations, has him musing about a move south of the border.
I don't know if it's in our very short term, but at some point, if this continues, we definitely will have to continue to service our customers.
There's certainly certain advantages of moving production to the U.S., including, having a more streamlined supply chain, access to a larger customer base.
A new survey from KPMG shows 42% of Canadian manufacturers are considering moving production south or already have. 57% have paused, cut back, or canceled capital investment projects, and 61% say their business can't survive without access to the United States.
Canadian companies are no longer in the wait-and-see mode.
Canadian manufacturers and exporters saw similar results from their own survey. The CEO says trying to work around tariffs makes Canadian companies less competitive.
It is the worst of all worlds when you have a situation where you can't really predict what the future is going to be.
Dennis Darby says members are watching Toyota's decision to move some production out of Mexico closely.
I think it's going to be the largest plant in the world, car plant, and they're moving into the United States. And again, they're doing that to avoid paying the tariff.
I think the worry meter should be high.
International trade lawyer William Pellerin expects to see similar moves out of Canada, though any potential automaker move won't happen in the short term due to government backing.
For sure it will happen in the wood product space. We're seeing that with our clients right now in that space. A lot of small towns will go from having an important manufacturer to nothing.
KPMG found 11% of Canadian manufacturers plan to move their headquarters to the U.S., and with manufacturers making up more than 10% of Canada's GDP, experts say even that relatively small number could have a big impact on our economy. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Oil prices jumped following a weekend of attacks in the Middle East, while slumping AI stocks weighed on markets. In Toronto, the TSX lost 53 points. In New York, the Dow dropped 138. The Nasdaq fell 408. The Canadian dollar is up a minimal 1/100th of a cent. On commodity markets, gold fell more than $100 an ounce. Oil gained about $6.70 a barrel. Later on CTV News, Ilderton's anniversary celebrations. Local philanthropist makes a community donation to mark the occasion.
Hi, my name is Jillian Burnett. My son is Waylon Saunders. He fell into a pool of January 2023 where he was underwater for about 5 minutes, and they rushed him to Petrolia Hospital where they tried to get a steady heartbeat for about 3 hours and then transferred him to Petrolia Hospital. After that, they transferred him from Petrolia to London where he was intubated for 78 hours. They were very, very scared that Waylon was not going to make it there. They told us that it would be less than a 5% chance, and that if his heartbeat did stop, they weren't going to continue on because that would mean that his body gave out because they already brought him up to the proper temperature. The care that he has received at Children's Hospital was above and beyond. They are incredible. They are patient. They are loving. They are a family, which I think is just beautiful.
Simulation mannequins they're called high fidelity. They're incredibly complex pieces of machinery, and they literally simulate all sorts of things. We're looking at one specific to a drowning victim, as you heard Waylon's story, and my goodness, the ability for our staff to be able to train on these things and experience this firsthand before seeing it in real life is just amazing.
I can get you. Waylon was able to share his story around the world. We have people that are in the States, that are across the world, that heard about Waylon's story. It changed so many different things. That there's a simulation mannequin that for drowning. There's so many different things that have come from this that has been beautiful. So out of something so horrific, beauty does come.
A new survey from accounting firm M&P suggests most Ontarians are caught in a pre-spent paycheck cycle, meaning much of their income is already spoken for before it arrives in their accounts. 63% of respondents said at least half their pay is already committed to bills, debt payments, and regular expenses before it even arrives. The survey also found a third of respondents reported cutting back on expenses like personal care, clothing, and kids' activities to get by. Meanwhile, 22% said they're canceling plans or avoiding making them altogether. Bank of Canada officials are expected to leave their benchmark interest rate unchanged for a sixth consecutive time this week. That's despite renewed violence in the Middle East and the potential impact on inflation. The annual inflation rate topped 3% in May for the first time since late 2023, largely attributed to higher gas prices. Electric bikes and scooters are growing in popularity, and as they become more common, so do scooter-related injuries. With more on one family's warning about the risks, here's Garrett Berry.
Jaden King just wants to get back to living.
Get out, change arms, and go back on the quad.
Hunting, fishing, getting out around the bay, out to the country in rural Newfoundland.
He loves to be dropped off in the middle of nowhere, walk to a pond with his fishing rod and his tent, and spend the whole day there.
He has taken these first steps, but it's a long road back, weeks in hospital after a traumatic electric scooter accident in May.
70 days. Too much.
He was driving the scooter with a friend on the back when he lost control of the machine.
Went face forward into the pavement, and the boy that was on the back of him came down on top of Jaden.
The helmet he was wearing surely saved his life, but still, injuries to his head were severe. Doctors needed to remove part of his skull to relieve the pressure of swelling in the brain. Jaden says he can't remember anything, but his mom, Amy Richards, remembers it all.
It's a feeling I never want to feel again, and I hope that no parent has to go through it.
Electric bikes and scooters are governed by a real patchwork of laws across the country. Different cities have different rules about how fast you can go and where they can be used. But as they're becoming way more popular, especially among children and young adults, more people are calling for stricter regulations, and more experts are weighing in on the dangers of these machines.
Parents don't realize how fast these machines are and how big they are and how dangerous they can be.
According to the Canadian Centre for Health Information, there are more and more people sent to the hospital because of e-scooter injuries across the country. Almost 500 between April 2023 and March 2024. That's up 32% from the year prior. Officials here in Newfoundland and Labrador have pledged a review and new legislation addressing these machines in the fall. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
Widespread heat warnings across southern Ontario. Tuesday is set to be the hottest day over the next 7. Thank you so much, Paul, for sending this photograph in, taken out on Lake Huron. The next opportunity for rain will come Friday night into Saturday morning. Other than that, a dry forecast with hot temperatures heading into the weekend.
Returning now to Sunfest, and before the chaotic scenes last night, thousands of visitors had taken in the festivities throughout the weekend. Dozens of acts had been brought in from around the world, including an Indian folk trio who had to clear several hurdles just to get here on time. Brent Lail reports.
Rajasthani folk trio Saz from India had the crowd on its feet Sunday.
He's saying this is the first time he's had such a mix of an audience where who danced with him to Rajasthani songs that they know, and he said they all danced very well.
Dancing along right up front was Sunfest founder Alfredo Casha. He became emotional when describing the hurdles it took to get Saz to London.
They were rejected over and over with their visa, and we said we were determined in bringing them, and finally we made it. Literally, they got their passport stamped 3 hours before the flight.
With help from London North Centre MP Peter Fragiscatos, they worked right down to the wire as members of Saz waited in India for clearance.
He collected the passport. He was in Delhi. He flew from Delhi to Bombay. They had his bags 2 hours from Delhi to Bombay. They had a 6-hour layover, then the 3.5 hours to Dubai, 14 hours to Toronto, and then 3 hours to London. So it took them about 34 odd hours, plus 2 days of nail-biting stuff. Is it going to happen, not happen? So I think there's a movie here somewhere.
Throughout the park, music was rocking on 4 different stages with people seeking shade from the heat. Both the food and artisan vendors were packed.
The logistics of setting up Sunfest, it took us pretty much the whole year to put together all the aspects. We are extremely happy and delighted that this particular weekend has been just truly an incredible and magical time.
You do not know how fortunate you are to have this man.
And Divya Bhatia praised Alfredo for his deep compassion for both people and culture.
Music brings us together irrespective of language and texture, and Alfredo has that in him.
Brett Lale, CTV News.
The World Cup semi-finals kick off tomorrow. France, Spain, England, and Argentina were the top 4 ranked teams coming into the tournament. They've each won the World Cup at least once, with Argentina reigning as defending champions. France take on Spain tomorrow afternoon in Dallas in the first semi-final before England and Argentina on Wednesday. Meanwhile, the FIFA president says discussions will soon take place over expanding the World Cup to 64 teams. This year's tournament is the first to feature 48 countries, up from 32. The 2030 World Cup will be co-hosted by Spain, Portugal, and Morocco, while the 2034 World Cup is set for Saudi Arabia. The entertainment world is mourning the death of actor Sam Neill.
We've made living biological attractions so astounding that they'll capture the imagination of the entire planet.
Neill was born in Northern Ireland and grew up in New Zealand. He was best known for his role as Dr. Alan Grant in Jurassic Park. Neill had revealed a cancer diagnosis in 2023. However, his family have stated he was cancer-free at the time of his death and did not specify a cause. Sam Neill was 78 years old. A visitor in Yellowstone National Park was sent to hospital after he was rammed by a charging bison. And as NBC's Camilla Bernal reports, the dramatic ordeal was all captured on video.
A terrifying encounter at Yellowstone National Park over the weekend.
Look out, bison!
This bison barreling towards a man and his grandson and launching the 65-year-old into the air. Moments earlier, the 2 visitors stopped to take photos of the animal lying in the grass before it began rolling and then charging at a passing car. The park guests spotted running away from the animal, who proceeded to chase them through the trees. The bison catching up, sending the man flying several feet into the air.
It went from a little bit of amusing to watch to critical emergency.
Photographer Mike McLeod filmed the whole thing before running to help.
I stopped the video because I could see that bison was standing over him and he was pumping his head, very aggressive and agitated. And I knew that somebody had to distract that thing.
He says he and other campers ran at the bison, chasing it away and then tending to the man who he says was in a lot of pain. The man's family telling NBC News he underwent surgery and remains at the hospital. The park says visitors should stay at least 25 yards away from all large animals. But the photographer who captured it all said the campers appeared to be doing everything right.
What are your thoughts when you watch that video?
They were doing everything right. They were respectful. And once the bison showed any agitation, they left. And they were just at the wrong time in the wrong place.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, the village of Ilderton celebrated its 150th anniversary this weekend. It was a 3-day festival bringing hundreds of people to the community. But as Brent Lail reports, the highlight was likely $1 million donation from a local business owner.
Someone once told me you can't take it with you. So today I have come here to donate $20,000 to 50 different nonprofit organizations in Middlesex Center. I just like to give back to the community, and I wanted to do it while I was alive rather than after.
One by one, local organizations came to collect their $20,000 checks from Glenn Powell. They ranged from churches to cemeteries to local sports groups, service clubs, and nonprofits.
We are totally floored. Everybody's totally floored what's happened today. We will take that investment and invest it in the community into another additional park. We have another subdivision to the north east of us. That's one position it might go, or something with the youth.
I thought I'd like to do it now and really help the nonprofit organizations that the people don't really appreciate in the churches and the cemeteries. You know, they all have to operate. And the firefighters, hopefully they can buy some defibrillators or smoke alarm for houses that can't afford them.
The massive donation came as part of the Ilderton 150 celebration. The weekend festival kicked off with a concert Friday and a parade Saturday morning.
We've got Sunny Skies Today, activities for kids and displays and historical, there's something for everyone. So families can come and spend a great day.
And no party in Ilderton would be complete without its most famous resident.
Community means everything to me, and they supported Tess and I so much growing up, and obviously you see our names on the signs. Tessa was from London, but they just adopted her. It was always a big advantage for me to come from a little town of hardworking people, people that take care of each other, and I was always very proud to represent that on the global stage. So this is a big celebration for us this week, and again, always just felt very fortunate to come from a small town like Ilderton.
Brent Lail, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.